Hello everybody and welcome back to a brand new block breaking episode. I'm down here. Wait, where? Down, keep looking. There I am, just sitting on the park bench outside my shop. We're starting today off in the shopping district because I've been informed that I actually need to restock a few things at my shop. I spent a good deal of time over my gold farm collecting some quartz and over at my gifting setup getting a bunch more terracotta. So it's time to actually see what kind of profits we have made. Actually I've got some from my totems, nice. Only one emerald, I'm not surprised this late in the season. Oh, decent amount in the quartz, couple on the terracotta. Oh, iron. I actually don't have a ton of iron left over. I haven't been collecting too much from my iron farm over on my floating island because I haven't been over there too much. So I don't have a ton to restock this with. Let's take care of what we do have right now, which is the nether quartz and the terracotta. I'll probably put these in the back for the time being, whatever's left over, and come back for restocking in the future. But the iron thing, that's something we're going to actually need to figure out and address because, like I said, I don't have much more left. You know, it kind of actually suits us that we ran out of the iron because I did plan on doing some work over at the iron farm, kind of beautifying those silos and making a shulker loader display system so I know how much we have in there. Let's head back over to my base and we can discuss some of my ideas and plans for that iron farm. That will never get old. Being able to teleport directly here is amazing. So let's head up there and I can show you what I'm thinking. I had outlined a kind of a two-silo design over here. This area being the storage section, and obviously currently the collection system is here. What I'm thinking is I want to build this silo up to have like indicator lights going down the side and detect how many shulker boxes are in a chest on what will probably be the floor area over here. So maybe there's like 5 or 6 redstone lamps that turn on every time a new shulker gets loaded into a chest. I haven't quite designed how that mechanic is going to work yet. I have some ideas. Let's head down there and test some stuff out. So the first thing I want to do is test if there is actually any difference in signal strength between a chest loaded with an empty shulker box versus a chest loaded with a full shulker box, because I actually have no idea on that. So let's see here. What is, if we toss in an empty shulker box, we do have a signal strength. Looks like that is just a signal strength of 1. If we put in a shulker box that's full, also a signal strength of 1. We have no difference between a shulker box that's empty and a shulker box that is full in terms of signal strength. So the next question is, how many different lights do I want to place up there to indicate how full a chest is with a bunch of shulker boxes? So basically, for every row in the chest filled, I have another output of 5. So right now, this first row fully filled, and if we take a look, we have an output of power 5. Fill another row, 10, fill another row, 15. So that gives me a decent idea of how many different lights I want up there based on how I could divide this up. So I'll figure out a decent multiple of 27, and that's how many redstone lamps we'll use to indicate how full the chest is of shulker boxes filled with iron we have. So I've been messing around with a few different ideas in creative, and honestly, I decided I'm going to choose a different number. I'm going to do it out of multiples of 6. So the way I'm going to make this work is by using a few filler items in the chest. So that way I get down to 24 free slots, and then it's a multiple of 6. So I'll have 6 lanterns, 24 slots, and I will just ignore power 1, and every lamp will turn on at different power intervals from there. Now, making this system is going to be a little bit tricky. I have to make the shulker loader, and then I have to take the comparator output from the chest that shulkers are going in to light up the various lamps. I have a shulker loader design that's going to work, but what I don't have is the actual lamp indicator output. That I'm going to have to mess with in design. So to do that, I think what I'm going to do is I'm going to place the redstone lamps kind of where I roughly think they're going to go, get a chest on the ground, and start messing with how exactly I'm going to get the signal to those lamps to turn on at the specific intervals we want. This right here is where I think I want the indicator lights to go. A torch tower wouldn't work because then the signal strength at each of them would be 100. I might have to try messing with some sort of redstone staircase going up. I guess first I gotta figure out exactly where the floor that the chest is gonna be on will be, so that way I'm at the correct spot and have the correct signal coming from the right spot for the amount of redstone we need to get all the way up there with the correct signal strength. I'm gonna have to get into creative and really play with what the design layout of this is gonna be to figure that out first. After a little bit of testing, I think I have something that evenly distributes the power for all 6 of these redstone lamps. If we come down here, you can see I'm using shovels in here to indicate what will eventually be shulker boxes. If I remove, let's say 1, 2, 3, 4, you'll see the top 2 lamps are now off. I'm going to be leaving 4 in here like I was mentioning before as kind of like filler, and this will hopefully slowly increase with shulker boxes full of iron from the iron farm here and slowly light up these lamps. Now it's time to actually install the shulker loader right here. And I actually have a design that I developed myself that I'm super proud of that should fit perfectly where this silo is going to be placed. I just have to build it and get the materials for it. Let's do that real quick and then I'll kind of show you how it works. The shulker box loader and item sorter are done. Right here we have where the iron gets pushed out into a water stream once this guy dies. Super simple setup. Comparator pushes a piston to a observer that creates an observer clock. The items get flushed up here. The poppies will occasionally get stuck in the hopper, but for the most part they end up going into the soul fire. And then down here on the back side is just a normal easy item filter that filters the iron in. I think this is Impulse's design. And then down here is what I've created. So this is a shulker box loader and then drops it into here. Oh, we've already got 1 full shulker box of iron. And the basic way that this works is I'm taking a comparator output on the back side of the shulker here, and then I am comparing it to a full redstone block. When that is full, what ends up happening is we are triggering this right here, this piston, that breaks the shulker, tossing it into the hopper and sending it this way. And then with a little bit of a delay, another shulker is dispensed with the dispenser and placed right back in position to be loaded. So overall, the system is pretty clean and the whole thing fits within the design that I'm going to be building for the 2 silos around this. I wish I could come up with a better way to deal with the poppies not getting trapped in the hopper like that, but it's good enough. It's not like we're getting so many poppies that it's going to cause lag or anything like that. Now though comes the really fun part. It's time to actually build these silos. I did a bunch of work on stream and creative to come up with this design. I'm pretty darn happy with it. It might need a little bit more texturing, but overall I think it fits in really well with the style that I have going on so far on my base. So let's jump into a time lapse and get this thing built. We now have ourselves an awesome silo. Check this thing out. It's actually kind of like double silos, but I really like it. I have not touched the interior, and I'm not even 100% sure what to do with the interior yet because there's a lot of stuff in here, obviously. And it took a little bit of figuring out, but I made it so that there is nowhere that the iron golems can spawn. I put a bunch of string up here on the roof so that they wouldn't accidentally spawn up here. And for the most part, I think I've got them all. You might have noticed in the time lapse, they were kind of spawning everywhere while I was working, but that was to be expected. Looking at it from the side over here, you can see how I kind of incorporated the design of the redstone lamps. I added these acacia trap doors here just to give a little bit more texture to them. I think they'll be pretty cool as they go up and light up. I missed a block over here. Hold on one sec. Let me replace that. And fixed. This build took up like the majority of my sand resources. I have like barely anything left, which is kind of a bummer. Oh, back here, I put this little like observatory. Here, let's fly out and take a look at it. Just off the side so I could kind of see out over this cool area. I think there's enough room in here to build like a little bit of a staircase up to this. And as you can see, it's still working fine. I also made sure that this balcony that wrapped around the whole thing was low enough so that there was no way that the iron golems could spawn on here. And I left this little passageway through, which I thought was kind of neat. But the only way to actually get up and onto the balcony is through this back little observatory area. So I got to think about how I'm going to really incorporate the whole interior working together. Probably going to end up leveling it out, or maybe like 2 levels, like a floor here, stairs, and then a second level back over here to where the actual iron farm portion of this is. Overall, I am super happy with this build. Let me know what you guys think of it. It could maybe use some texturing on the outside, maybe a little bit more detail, but it's probably one of the better builds I've done in a while. I really need to try and incorporate some of the accents and stuff into this building, but I'm not quite done with this one yet. We still have one more farm that I'd like to put in here in this back left corner. I have a design that I found for a dark oak farm that I could fit in here. And then, and this is what I think we're going to do actually next, is we're going to make a mangrove tree farm. I'm pretty sure Mangrove and Dark Oak are like the last 2 tree farms I have to do. Then I have them all. And that one is going to go right over here. I started to outline the exact area that it would fit. It's going to take a little bit of finagling because the mangrove farm that I actually designed myself was a little bigger than the area that I have to work with over here. But I think I could make it work. Let me show you one more view that I really like this whole place. I'm going to jump into free cam here and we will turn on some shaders. Check this out. From here, I think this looks really cool. You could start to see the whole island, city, village thing coming together. And when the sun up there gets right behind the crests of these different silos and industrial peaks, I think the whole thing looks really cool. Now that this is all taken care of though, I definitely want to get that mangrove tree farm built. I don't know that I'll be able to actually put the building around it in this episode. I still have a little bit of work I want to do for that. I currently have 0 materials to make this thing, so I'm going to go on a quick material gathering spree and then start building it. And just like that, we have ourselves a mangrove tree farm. Let's fly over and take a look at this thing. So this is my own design. It's really nothing super complicated. It's basically just 2 TNT dupers at the top. Right down here is where I actually plant the propagules and the system really takes off. We have this lever here, which activates a observer clock there, pushing out bone meal from this dispenser here. This hopper line is going to go into the bone meal farm that is all the way over there. I had to do some excavating to bring this a little bit lower than where the terrain was, because I didn't realize how much depth I was going to need for where the actual mangrove roots go. But it's pretty simple. What's really interesting about propagules is you could keep planting them over and over again on top of each other as long as this space here remains free. Let me get a propagule real quick and we'll run this thing through its paces. So I've got a few propagules. We'll just turn the TNT duper on over here. And if we take a look up here in free cam, you'll notice that these TNT dupers will start to activate. There is a little bit of a timing circuit that I have in front of them that basically drops them in a way that gives me the most amount of bang for my buck with what I'm getting from the propagules. So if I drop this propagule here, it grows like that, and then above, TNT drops and breaks up the mangrove. Now, the way I'm doing this collection system is each of these bottom slabs has a hopper underneath it, and then I snuck in the middle a hopper minecart that connects to the hopper lines down here. So even drops that fall in the middle will still get pulled down and end up in this chest here. So all I have to do is just basically stand here with an auto clicker that places the propagules every so often, and this farm will run smoothly. With this mangrove farm done, I do want to finish up all the tree farms possible. So now it's time for the one that I've been kind of putting off the longest, and that would be the dark oak tree farm. It doesn't quite fit in here. It's just a little bit too big. So I'm gonna have to open up this area here just slightly. So this dark oak tree design is not mine. It's done by Shady J. So I'll put a link in the description to this. And I'm just gonna do this as a quick time lapse once I get all the materials, since I don't really want to explain somebody else's farm. You should definitely go check out their design for it. So let me go on a quick resource gathering mission and get this thing put together. The dark oak tree farm is complete. If we head on up here, this area is where we actually enter the farm. I already ran it a little bit and got some extra dark oak saplings. You flick this lever and jump inside this minecart that goes back and forth, and you hold to place the dark oak saplings. It drops you down. The explosions happen above that actually break the tree. And then you basically just keep going back and forth with lower and higher, placing these dark oak saplings. And more will actually get dispensed into your inventory as this farm keeps working. You notice I started with 5. There we go. I am now back up to another 4 and can plant my next tree. So let's turn this thing off once I get back up there and this tree is destroyed. Ba-boop. Turn you off. Jump out of the minecart. This is probably one of my favorite tree farm designs. It is really complicated to a degree, but it's also super stable. I've only had like one issue with it, and that was due to an alignment error problem that I basically created myself. Now, I hooked this thing up to our bone meal farms over here, so it's constantly getting a bone meal supply and will basically run indefinitely if I want to. But the one thing that is kind of a bummer, and I did mention this when I was going to build it, is it was a little bit too big for the actual structure. So I had to break through the silo over here to add this section. I am not quite sure exactly how I'm going to incorporate this into the design yet. That is something that is going to have to wait for the next episode, which is where I'm going to end today's episode. We've got a lot done between the mangrove tree farm over here and our completed iron silo system over here. I feel like we did quite a bit today. Next episode, I'm definitely going to be focusing on finishing up the rest of the builds. I need to build something to house our basalt and cobblestone generator, our mangrove farm, and the destruction that occurred to our main bone meal and tree farm over there. But thank you all so much for watching today. I hope you enjoyed this video. If you did, don't forget to drop a like. And if you really like this channel, feel free to subscribe, and I will see you in the next episode. Bye for now.